Hello, I'm Dane. Welcome to another episode of Docs Duty. In today's episode, we will try to answer this question posted on the Fabric community. So basically, what the user wants is that whenever someone selects something from a slicer, for example, all time, then all dates from the beginning of time should be visible with their corresponding values. For full years on the current year, for ITD, still the current year, but the values should be YTD. And for selected dates, it should be based on the slicer selection. And for this, we'll be needing a disconnected period slicer table, which we can just use enter data for. And I've already added this to a slicer. Let's go back to that post in the Fabric community. There you go. So let's see what the user has done so far. Okay, here's the problem with this approach. I'll recreate this in Power BI and I'll use, or rather, I'll name the measure that measure equals. And since this is not a calculation group yet, by the way, the user wants it to be in a calculation group so that the same logic can be applied to multiple measures. So I'll change this to total revenue and the name of my calendar table in this semantic model is dates. Hmm. And now add dates. I'll be using so to make it visual. I'll add dates to rows and month and year to rows as well. And I'll add that test measure. Test measure, not that one. Test underscore measure. Okay. And I'll add total revenue. See, the problem with, I can go back first. The problem with this formula is that this removes the filter from the dates table or whatever column you apply this remove filters to. And so you'll be seeing the same values for all rows. And that value is the value without any filter applied to dates. See, this is our remove filters, and this one is without remove filters. And one more thing, if we filter this by date, for example, we are selecting full year, and it's supposed to be selected full year. We don't see the full year. Instead, we see whatever is selected in the slicer selection. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to do. Something I've done already, by the way, is I created a disconnected dates table, and the formula is just so the formula is simply dates. Disconnected date is equal to date, which is just referencing our dates table. And we don't do anything else except for formatting because when you create a calculated table, the formatting is not inherited from the table being referenced. Okay. Let's go back to that and I'll add the dates disconnected date and then months and year. And I'll add total revenue. But of course, this one will not work because there is no relationship between our disconnected dates table and our fact table. That's why it's called disconnected. Okay, now what we need to do is to recreate that measure, but we need to correct it. So I'll go back to that and I'll copy this. I'll go back to Power BI and I'll create a new measure. We will be referencing total revenue temporarily instead of selected measure. Once we are done with the correct measure, then we will just copy and paste that in a calculated group item and replace the measure name with selected measure. Okay. Yeah, but instead of me putting the calculation inside switch, I'll be using a variable. So let's see. Variable name is all time. It's all time and the formula calculate in thousands is not working. I'll just calculate total revenue and I'll be using treat as. Treat as is a measure or rather a function you can use to propagate a vertical relationship. Treat as values of our disconnected state and then we propagate it to our state table. And this is what we have for all time. And now we need to create another one for full year. It's full year and full year is the current year. So I will create another variable that will return the dates in the current year. So calculate table values disconnected date and we filter it to the current year. And instead of using this table expression, I'll be using this variable. And we do another one for YTD. And I'll be using just a regular YTD intelligence function. And our date column is that this will return the YTD values for each date, but we want it to be visible only for the current year. So we add this. Oops, this one. That's it. And now we have another one for selected dates, which should be just about the same as all time. Let's start. Uh, Selected dates equals all time. And we will try to figure out later how to just make selected dates. What I mean is that how to filter this one to show only the dates within the selected range. In the meantime, let's start correcting our switch formula. So all time equals all time, full year equals, oops, that should be a period, no, a comma, not period, full year. Year to date is our YTD, and our selected dates for the last one. And it's time to test this. Here we go. Mm, apply period slide. So all time it shows everything else full year. This current year is 2025. YTD is not showing correctly. And selected dates. Let's see if we can select this. Mm, selected dates. Okay. That isn't supposed to be the case. This should not be filtered yet. Okay, let me go back to my formula. Um, now I know. Date, and this one, mistakes. Dates, over, date. So this is what went wrong. Okay, and this is date as well. So all time should not be affected by the date slider. Full year, year to date, and selected dates. But however, selected dates should be affected by the date slicer. So why does this one doesn't get filtered? Let's go back to our formula. Now, treat as replaces an existing filter. It's kind of a hard filter override. And for us to be able to preserve the filter from dates, and we need to use a function called dates filter or defilter method. So I'll copy this and I'll add the filters to wrap treat as, and this should work. This should allow us to filter our visual by the date from the related dates table. All time. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is change this today a bit. So the problem with today is that if you if this is happening in Power BI service, Power BI service uses UTC, whereas your desktop uses whatever time zone you're in. So I'll be using UTC now instead, and I'll add something to use PC now. So my time zone is +8, so I'll add 8 over 24, and what I'm interested in is the date portion. So I'll be using int instead. And to make this more readable, I'll go to a tool called dash formatter to format our measure. Copy that, and then go back to Power BI, save this. And now we need to convert this to a calculation through Python. Go to, this is model view. It used to be called diagram view. And from there, we create a new calculation group. Paste the same measure, but we need to replace everything, all portions that reference a measure. So highlight that, then in your keyboard, press Ctrl Shift L at the same time. It will highlight the same text string. And let's type selected measure. Okay. And let's check if this calculation group is going to work. Calculation group, 5 period slicer 1. Let's add total revenue. Remove, oops, total revenue. Removes the apply slices selection measure. All time, full year to date selected. And let's try another measure. Total transactions. All time, full year to date selected. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you learned something. Thanks for staying with me and have a good one. Bye bye.